Every day. Every time I film. Every time I sleep. It's this. Right next door. Hello humans, my name is Dael Kingsmill, and today is one of those grand days when I sit down to tell you guys a story from mythology this week for you. That was a bit weird and I developed an accent towards the end. Let's just not talk about that. Let's just not talk about it. Bit of a bizarre story for you today, but it's a great little addition to any mythologist's repertoire. It's one that I've loved ever since I heard it. I find it hilarious, but you know, maybe you will too. This is the story of Aristaeus and his bees. Our story begins with the young princess / naiad lady Cyrene, who had absolutely zero interest in hanging around the house and doing chores all day. Instead, she elected to spend her time just hunting every animal in sight, particularly the dangerous ones. She was a bit rough around the edges, a bit of a thrill seeker, but if anyone ever questioned her choices, she would just come right back at them with the excuse that, excuse you, my father the king's flocks need protecting from stuff, alright? Jeez. So one day she's out wrestling a lion to death, just wrestling it to death. She does that sometimes, actually quite a lot. Finds lions and picks fights with them. And unknown to her, Apollo had sat down nearby to watch the fray. Apollo calls on Chiron, Mr. oh so knowledgeable centaur guy, and says, hey, what do you think of her? Like, what's her name? What's she like? Do you think she'd be good for me? And Chiron was all like, dude, you already know that you know her name. Alright? You and I both do the prophecy thing. We both know that you are going to whisk her off to Libya any minute now, and that you're gonna give her a palace of gold and a whole hunting-themed queendom to run, and then the two of you are gonna have a kid called Aristaeus. Alright? We both know this. Why are you asking me? So Apollo says, well, I mean, if you're saying it's destiny, if you're saying it's fate, if you're saying it's preordained, then I guess I'm gonna have to. Fake sigh. So Apollo did everything that Chiron had described. He took Cyrene off to Libya, where Aphrodite was waiting at the described golden palace to make sure that everything was extra sexy during their stay. And 9 months later, Hermes showed up to act as midwife during the birth of Cyrene and Apollo's child. A whole lot of nymphs acted as babysitters throughout tiny little Aristaeus's youth. It was just very hands-on for this kid and his mum, which is, I mean, a nice change from, you know, Apollo just flinging curses and plagues at people all the time. Now, when Aristaeus grew up, he became, of all things, a beekeeper, an Apiarian, if you will. That's what he decided was his calling in life. But then one day, every single bee in Aristaeus's bee colony dropped dead, and he fell into a real rut over it. He was so deeply distressed over the loss of his hive that he went to go and cry to his mum about it, see if she knew anything that he could do to make things better. Because if there's anyone who'll know how to help out his dead bees, it'll be his mum, the water nymph, of course. Aristaeus knew that about this time of year his mother was usually visiting her naiad sisters, and so he waded waist deep into a river and just started calling for her. Mom! Mom! Mom? His auntie Arethusa hears the whining and comes up to the surface to see what all the racket was about. She pops her head up out of the water, ready to tell whoever it was to keep the noise down, please, when she spots Aristaeus. Oh no, what's wrong with my favourite nephew? Oh, it's alright. Come on down to the palace, Ari. Come on, we'll give you some biscuits and we'll talk through it, alright? Yeah. Once down there, Cyrene says to her son, my cousin Proteus, the river god, kind of knows everything. If you go grab him while he's having his midday nap, he'll answer any one question that you want. The knowledge of the universe, that's sure to cheer you up. So Aristaeus went and grappled with the old man of the sea. You know, didn't ask nicely or anything first. No. He just went down there, took him by surprise, wrapped him in a whole bunch of chains, jumped on his back and held on for dear life. Tight as he could. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. But then Proteus began to change his form. The transformations included things like wild, angry boars or ferocious tigers, writhing serpents, raging fires, puddles of water. But Aristaeus managed to hold on for long enough that Proteus finally took on his own true form once again. All right, already, said Proteus. Go on then, what's your question, huh? How do I become immeasurably wealthy? Or what's the meaning of life? Come on, what do you want to know? Why did my bees die? And Aristaeus just starts like crying into the front of Proteus's shirt. Whoa, geez kid, pat. It's 'cause you kind of caused Eurydice's death. You remember that? You totally chased her into a snake's nest and she got bitten and died, and then Orpheus followed her, and then the whole cosmic balance was thrown out for a bit there. That was kind of your fault. And yeah, basically the nymphs are really ticked off about that, so they killed your bees. So Aristaeus makes his way back to his mother's place, and she says, whoa, yeah, you should probably make sacrifices to basically everyone if you want to shed some of that guilt. Like, so many dead calves are gonna be needed for this. Then, once you've done that, come back to the site of your sacrifice in 9 mornings' time and make sure to bring some poppies of forgetfulness and a black yew to offer to Eurydice and Orpheus. Aristaeus did just as his mother had said, and on the 9th morning he returned to find a whole swarm of brand new bees rising up out of the cow carcasses. New bees, just for him! He rounded them all up and took them back home, probably tucking them all into individual bee-sized beds back in the hive. And you know what? Those bees were never struck down by disease again. Probably never gave off any honey again either, because, I mean, let's face it, they were likely flies. Dude found them in a cow carcass that had been lying around covered in blood for 9 days. I feel like they were probably flies. Like, that seems like a good recipe for how to attract flies to a single location, to me. You know, call me crazy. I guess just no one ever told him because he seemed so happy with his new bees. And yeah, that's fair enough, I suppose. So how's that for a bizarre little mythical story? I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, I would love it if you would hit the like button just underneath this video. And even more than that, I would love it if you could share this video on your favorite social media website. Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, others. Yeah, I'm so good at the social media spiel. You can actually find me on most of the social media platforms if you would like to follow me there. All of the links to that are in the description below. If you like this kind of video, you can subscribe to my channel to get more like it every second week, as well as some other nerdy goodness in between. For example, I just did a video celebrating the 3rd season of Orphan Black, which will be coming out soon, and you can watch that here if you would like to do so. I think that's it. I think that's everything. So, don't forget to email this to your grandma. For now, that's it. I'm done, and I will see you guys some other time with another myth. That's great. You can sure rev that car. Wow. You're excellent at that. You know, you should go and show people. Far away.